Did you smoke today? Have you yet put something on your stomach? Oh, good enough. Did you smoke today? Have you yet put something on your stomach?
What is up, you guys? It's your girl Shantrice Bonita, and today I'm coming to you with another video. Yeah, hi, how y'all doing, all my Bonita viewers? Yeah. So I got a lot of good feedback from the true crime video. It got a lot of views. Not saying it got many likes, but I'm not really pretty much looking at likes, but it is what it is. It got a lot of views, and that is really a big accomplishment to me because that means I'm reaching a certain amount of people. And like I said, I'm only telling these stories to raise awareness to certain situations and certain things that people go through. And if you witness these red flags, then to say something about it or try your best to do what you can if you find yourself in that situation. So, today we're going to be talking about the story of Laurie Dann. For those of you who don't know who this person is, she was, I'm not going to say one of the first people to have a mass shooting in a school, but she is, yeah, probably one of those few of the first people who did mass shootings in schools, elementary schools. So the true story that I got from this movie was based, from this story, from the Guys, I hate when I get tongue-tied. I get really irritated with myself, and I just want to beat myself in the head. But I'm not going to do that on camera. I'm going to do that off camera. Nope, I'm not going to do that off camera, because if I do it off camera, and y'all probably didn't know that I did it off camera, because my brain cells would just evaporate into thin air, and then I won't be able to tell you this story. So, yeah, I can't beat myself in the head today. Okay. So this story is reference to Laurie Dann. And this is the true story, but I got it from the movie Murder of Innocence, and it's based on this true story. This movie, I think, was filmed in 1996, if I'm not mistaken, and it starred Valerie Bertinelli. So I'll make sure you guys see the picture for the movie. But the person who I want to talk about is Valerie Dann.
Oops, I meant Laurie Dann.
So there are other people in the equation. So like I said in my first video, I will be reading this information and giving my opinion on certain things. But yeah, this is just to enlighten you about the story. And if you experience this same caliber or situation, do something about it. Do the best you can. Reach whoever you can to help this person. Or if it's even you and you feel like something is wrong, then do something about it. Please don't sit on it. Don't wait. Don't wait until something happens to where you go to a damn elementary school and shoot up the children there. So, or anywhere. So, we're going to get to Laurie Dann. Laurie Dann was born October 18th, 1957. I'm not going to tell you when she died, because, they have all that information together. Yes, she does die, so, yeah. Dead giveaway. Okay, so it has her on Wikipedia listed as an American murderer who shot and killed one boy. Nobody should have died. So she shot and killed one boy and wounded 2 girls and 3 other boys in Winnetka, Illinois elementary school. And she also then took a family member hostage and shot another man. Took a family hostage and shot another man. It was fatally. Okay. So let's get to Laurie Dann. I don't know why I keep calling her Dawn. I was saying it in my head, but I guess it's pronounced Laurie Dann. I'll make sure I have this correct spelling of her name and whatnot. So it says, Laurie Dann was born in Chicago and grew up in Glen Cove, a suburb in Chicago. She was the daughter of an accountant named Norman Weiserman, and his wife Edith Joy. Those who knew Dan described her as a shy and withdrawn. She graduated from New Trier High School in Winnetka, Illinois in 1975. And although she had poor grades in high school, she was able to attend Drake University in Des Moines, Iowa. When her grades improved, she transferred to the University of Arizona with the goal of becoming a teacher. She began dating a pre-med student, and the relationship soon became serious. But she was becoming possessive and demanding. Now, possessive and demanding. Now, if you are a person who's in a relationship and you are dealing with that as we speak right now, you're dealing with someone who has a possessive and demanding disorder, and a lot of things about them you find very peculiar and why they do those things. I think you should find them a therapist. It may not be that severe, but even in a small case like that, if they are possessive and at any point in time, just seek some help, seek some kind of information that you can get on why this person is acting like this. Okay. You may have to even do an intervention. Cause the reason why I'm stopping while I'm telling a story is to point out certain things that most people should keep their eye on. Because I feel like if people had kept their eye on Laurie and the things that she was doing, we wouldn't have gotten to this point, and those kids wouldn't have gotten shot like that. So, yeah, I'm just going to keep stopping and going to point out different specific details in the person's behavior, just in case you guys are dealing with something like that, and just to encourage you to get help. Please get help. Okay, so now we get to the two students. They were students in college and they started dating. So, in the summer of 1977, she attended the University of Wisconsin in Madison, taking a course of home economics. In 1980, with the relationship failing, Dan moved back to her parents' home. Then she transferred to Northwestern University to complete her degree, but she dropped out of all her classes and never graduated. Now, with me telling you that much of information, what do we get out of this? I'm going to give y'all a minute to marinate on it. So what we get out of this situation is that she has switched from several schools. That's another red flag. You have this woman who's fairly determined to get her education and probably doesn't know what she wants to do, number one. Number two, she probably feels pressured by her parents to become someone in life and do something with her life, because I could tell she loved children. And even in the movie, it portrays her as loving children. But when people have a certain displacement in their life, it could have been any kind of situation where it involved children, which she finds herself being around children a lot. So, not only that, she has been to all these different schools, which means she probably was pressured. And I've known some people go to college and some of them, they never really, I'm trying to get to that point. They get really confused and their mind starts to deteriorate sometimes because college is hard. I don't care what nobody says. I haven't been there, but I just know it's hard for a lot of people. And then mental issues start to flare up. Like when you're so pressured and you feeling all this weight and you're like, I gotta get through this class, I gotta pass this class, you can start to have a mental withdrawal, and it can cause a lot of things to happen. So yeah. This is even a message to my students in school. Whether you're in high school or in college, or you're just taking a few classes or a certificate program, that involves you too, because a lot of people can get pressured. You guys, like, I know how I felt when I was in high school. Like when I did math, ugh, I still hate math to this day, but I can say that for me, at that time, I wasn't willing to put myself in there. And what I mean by that is like put all of my attention span to learning and figuring out math. Like me, I was just through with it. I didn't want to. Yeah, I'm like, fuck math in my head. But now as an adult, I feel like I can have more of an attention span towards it and focus more. Take more time to learn it. You get what I'm saying? So yes, we're going to get back to the story. So we are now behind on the story where she has transferred to several universities, and she she was having a failed relationship. So let's get to their relationship. Okay? So she met and married Russell Dann, an executive insurance broker firm, in September 1982. But the marriage quickly soured as Russell's family noted signs of obsessive compulsive disorder. So OCD. For those of you who didn't know what OCD it is obsessive compulsive disorder and strange behavior. Okay, I know I keep taking breaks during the story. Y'all want to hear the fucking story. You like, get through to the fucking story. Shit, you keep fucking stopping. And I keep spitting everywhere. Okay, so obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD. That's crazy when you notice these things, but you have a situation where other people don't notice it. But they've been around this person way longer than you have. So basically, in a nutshell, this is the type of situation we're dealing with right now. So let's continue. Excuse me. That was nasty and rude. Sour. And I forgot to say Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Happy Thanksgiving. Of course, everybody's still scared to go out and be around everybody because of this COVID. COVID need to get on somewhere. Get on somewhere. Get on. Get out of here. We don't want you here. Dang. But yes, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Happy holidays. So, we find out she has OCD and strange behavior, including leaving trash around the house. So, technically, I'm going to read that again. But the marriage quickly soured as Russell's family noted signs of obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, and strange behavior, including leaving trash around the house. She saw a psychiatrist for a short period, who identified her childhood as upbringing as a cause of her problems. See, that's what I like about some psychiatrists, because some psychiatrists, they can diagnose you and be like, oh, well, she has OCD and there's nothing to it. Here's some pills and hopefully she gets well from it. Now, some psychiatrists, they get to the root of the situation, which means you really have to sit down and talk to these patients who are going through this tough time having OCD. They want to know why they're going through this. Their family member wants to know why they're doing all of this. So it's best to get to the root of the situation so you can get to a point where you can solve this and get this person back on track with their mental mind. If you're just giving them pills and just validating, I don't know if I'm saying that right. No. Okay, let's say he's giving her a drink and he's watering it down. Yeah, of course the drink is going to be calmed down a little bit, but it can come right back up. That's a terrible analogy, but that's the only thing I can think of right now. Child get my drift. So, let's get back to the story. Laurie and Russell Dann separated in October 1985. The divorce negotiations were acrimonious, with Laurie claiming that Russell was abusive. In the following months, the police were called to investigate various incidents, including several harassing phone calls made to Russell and his family. In April 1986, Laurie accused Russell of breaking into and vandalizing her parents' house where she was living then. Shortly after, she purchased a Smith & Wesson .357 Magnum, telling the salesman that she needed it for self-defense. Now, all of these things are starting to unravel. You notice that Russell and Laurie, they did not stay married long at all, because of course, when you have a person who's dealing with that much of a mental problem, things can seem so good until the point where they're razzled or they start to think about something from the past and they start showing these signs of irregularity. So, Russell started to notice these signs and even tried to consult her parents about it, but they denied. Our daughter is fine. She is perfect. She doesn't have any problem. The only problem she had was when she was a kid, and she's fine now. Now, honestly, I want y'all opinion. Is somebody that you know, they're married to some of your kinfolk, and they come to you saying, well, your cousin or your daughter has really been displaying some behavior that I'm not used to. I know we got married not knowing too much about each other, but in the beginning it was all good. And then a couple of months later, I'm seeing a whole different side to her, and she's doing these weird things that you don't normally see people do. And I just want to know, have you guys seen this type of behavior before? And if so, can you enlighten me on what's going on with her? What's her problem? Like, he's taking her to see several psychiatrists just to, figure out what's going on with her. It's not like he didn't love her, because, I mean, come on. He has taken you to see several psychiatrists, but she, you know, in her mind, she's thinking, oh, it's nothing wrong with me. And there'd be some times when she's saying, oh, there is something wrong with me. There is something wrong with me. But then again, you like, okay, something is wrong with me. Then you go back to, she's back and forth in her mind thinking something's wrong, something's not wrong, And then when somebody brings it to the light, oh, she's quick to defend herself and be like, no, there's nothing wrong with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, ew. So she has purchased a Magnum 357 Smith & Wesson. I said that so backwards, so well. So, of course, they have to ask you a series of questions of felonies and mental health. Of course, she denied having that. I feel like there should be some type of different registration for a gun. I'm pretty sure they have it nowadays, but back then they just asked you a series of questions, and of course they had to go off of your word. Which is why so many people has gotten killed. Let me just throw that out there. Let's get back to the story. So, in August 1986, she contacted her ex-husband, who was then a resident at a hospital, and claimed to have had his child. She didn't have any children, which is crazy. I mean, of course, that's part of OCD and strange behavior and mental behavior. You make up fabricational stories and stuff like that. When he refused to believe her, Dan called the hospital where he worked and claimed that Dan called the hospital, as in Laurie, where Russell worked, and claimed he had raped her. Really? Claimed that he raped her in the emergency room. Really? You think that man's gonna risk his job to rape you in the emergency room because he knew you was at the hospital he was working at? More so, he was probably trying to get away from you. It's crazy. It's really crazy, y'all. This story is really crazy. Like, really, really crazy. Yeah, really, really, really. Really, really. Okay. Back to the story. In September 1986, Russell Dann reported that he had been stabbed in his sleep with an ice pick. An ice pick? Really? Wow. He accused Laurie of the crime. Although he had not actually seen his attacker, the police decided to not press charges against Laurie based on the medical report, which suggested that the injury may have been self-inflicted, as well as Russell's abrasive attitude towards the police and his failed polygraph test. Now, that part I didn't really understand, but those polygraph tests aren't really efficient 100%, so I guess it's just something that we just have to brush off our shoulders because that's just something we can't understand right now. Why is my camera shaking? Is it because I'm shaking the table? I don't know. That's scary. Okay. So they dropped the charges on her because they really couldn't prosecute her for anything. Russell and his family continued to receive harassing hang-up phone calls, and Laurie was arrested for calls made to Russell's sister. The charges were dropped due to lack of evidence. Now, why are all these things spiraling out of control and they choose not to keep this woman in jail? Like she's already been accused of stabbing her ex-husband. She's been accused of calling and hanging up, threatening people, his family, i.e. his family, and they still let her go. Due to lack of evidence. Really? Y'all couldn't call? Oh, yeah, the phone records. Of course, she would call from her own phone, but I'm pretty sure they could look up phone records back then. I'm not sure, but I know it would be sometimes she would go to a payphone and harass them too. Just before their divorce was finalized in April 1887,
I meant
Laurie accused Russell of
1987.
raping her. There were no physical signs supporting Laurie's claim, although she passed 2 polygraph tests, which is crazy. In May 1987, Laurie accused Russell of placing an incendiary device in her home. Are you serious? No charges were filed against Russell for either alleged event. Laurie's parents believed her claims and supported and defended her throughout. Now, this is where the story, I think, gets very bizarre. First off, I don't care what type of disagreement that Russell and Laurie was having. That was between them. And I understand that a parent is gonna come to their child's defense, if they're going through divorce. They're gonna blame them, even if it probably wasn't their fault. Sometimes parents like to follow their children when they know they're wrong. Okay, let's just put that out there. Me, I'm the type of person, I'm with you when you're right, but I'm not with you when you're wrong, okay? Now, they supported her and believed her through everything she told them, and it makes me very curious as to how in the hell her parents didn't see those red flags, but Russell did. Did they just ignore them? Or was she really, really, really good at hiding them when she was with her parents? That really confuses the hell out of me, because how in the hell do you not believe what Russell is saying? And all this truth is coming out, and she's never displayed any of that in front of you guys. And it makes me question Laurie, like, what the fuck? What's going on with you for real? Like, are you just... I don't even have a word. I don't have words for her disorder, because it seems like she really had a mixture of OCD and schizophrenia. Honestly. But even if it's that far gone, she had to at least display it in front of her parents a couple of times, maybe more than a couple of times. And they probably just didn't want to accept it. She probably would have one of her spells. It's like, oh, she's just having a spell. She's just having a spell. She'll be fine in the morning. And she actually come back, be fine in the morning. Hey, Mom, you want me to make breakfast? No. Because at the end of the day, even if they coming to you talking sweet and doing favors, it's still something wrong with that. You know they got a mental problem. You just don't want to acknowledge it. And I can't stand parents like that. Like, if you know something is wrong with your child, you need to get on that situation before it gets too out of control, like Laurie's situation did. Now, let's get back to the story, because I don't want to be telling this story too long. Because, I can talk. My ass can talk. Okay? So let's get back to the by this time Laurie Dann was being treated by another psychiatrist for her OCD disorder and the chemical imbalance. Now, of course, chemical imbalance is so many things just coming up now that these psychiatrists are telling you what's going on. And I never really saw in the movie that the parents were even there when she was going to see the psychiatrist. It was just her and Russell, which is weird. Okay. The psychiatrist told police that he did not think Laurie was suicidal or homicidal. Where did you get your degree, honey? Where did you get your degree? Have you listened to how I wonder every psychiatrist that has treated Laurie Dann, did you listen to Russell? People can't just make this shit up. Okay, so the final year. So we're getting closer to the murder, okay? Dan worked as a babysitter, Laurie Dann. And some employees were happy with the care she provided for their children. Others made complaints to police. Okay, let me get back to police about damage to their furniture and theft of food and clothes. Despite the complaints, no charges were passed. Dan's father did pay for damages in one case. Okay, in one case. That one case, did you ever ask your daughter what the fuck was wrong with her? Why did she do that? You babysitting to get money, right? And you stealing these folks' food and clothes out their home and messing up their damn furniture. It's like, well, you got parents that'll take care of you and give you whatever you want and whatever you need. Why do you have to do this? That wasn't a red flag to you? Oh, this is just something Laurie does. Oh, so she just go in people's home and fuck their furniture up and steal their shit. I mean, honestly, I think her parents should have seen a psychiatrist too. It was something wrong with them motherfuckers too. I'm sorry. So, in the summer of 1987, Dan sublet a university apartment in Evanston, Illinois. What is she doing staying in a university apartment? She's not even going to school. Okay. Once again, her strange behavior was noted, including riding up and down the elevators for hours, wearing rubber gloves to touch the metal, and leaving meat to rot in the sofa cushions. She took no classes at the university. In the fall of 1987, Dan claimed she had received threatening letters from Russell and that he had sexually assaulted her in a parking lot. But the police did not believe her. A few weeks later, she purchased a .32 caliber Smith & Wesson revolver. With her condition deteriorating, Dan and her family sought specialized help. And her family. In November of 1987, she moved to Madison, Wisconsin to live in a student residence while being observed by a psychiatrist who specialized in obsessive compulsive disorder. She had already begun taking clomiprim. I don't know how to pronounce this. It's a drug for OCD. And her new psychiatrist increased a dosage of adding lithium carbonate to reduce her mood swings and initiating behavior therapy to work on her phobias and ritualistic behaviors. Despite the intervention, her strange behavior continued, including riding elevators for long periods of time, changing television stations repeatedly, and an obsession with good and bad numbers. There were also concerns about whether she was bulimic. Then I tell you guys the story gets bizarre and more bizarre. Like, this is another case where I blame the parents. Now, when her and Russell divorced, she was with her parents most of the time. So basically, her parents were taking care of her. Now, they say that they were quote unquote, getting her help, but they weren't getting her help. To me, they weren't, because they should have had her committed in a hospital where they could be more hands on with her and dealing with her situation, not letting her be out here running all wild, doing stuff, doing the more weird stuff that added on to her mental situation, disability. Like, are y'all literally hearing what I'm reading right now? Stuffing meat in the couch to rot. And it's been plenty of occasions where they've gone into her room and they like, what kind of sick person lives like this? It's worse than the jungle. Okay, let's get back to it. Okay, Dan purchased a 22 semi-automatic Beretta at the end of December 1987. In March 1988, she stopped attending her appointments with the psychiatrist and behavior therapist. At about the same time, she began to make preparations for the attacks. She stole books from the library on poisons, and she diluted arsenic and other chemicals from a lab. She also shoplifted clothes and wigs to disguise herself and was arrested for theft on one occasion. Both her psychiatrist and her father tried to persuade her to enter the hospital as an inpatient, but she refused. That's where y'all messed up at. That's where y'all messed up at. Yeah, like I said, they messed up saying that she would not go. Y'all should have made her go. Strapped her down, put her in a padded room, gave her the medicine she needed to help her stop thinking these thoughts. I don't know, but y'all should have committed her voluntarily. You at that point when people are thinking thoughts like that, it ain't no do I want to go. No. It ain't no I don't want to go. Y'all should have willingly took it into your hands, made the decision, and had her committed to that hospital. She is looking up things, stealing books, stealing clothes to disguise herself with, to poison people. And not only that, she has an obsession with guns. She done bought 3 or 4 different guns. Like, come on. And then, not only that, like, the husband, I believe, has said something about her buying a gun because he ended up receiving some kind of certificate of her registration of the gun. And he's like, well, he don't think she needs to have a gun. And her father came to her defense talking about, well, she needs it for self-defense. No, she don't. She wouldn't need it for self-defense if she was in a padded room right now. Okay, this is, I told you guys, this story it's awful. Okay. Dan continued to make numerous hang-up phone calls to her former in-laws and babysitting clients. Eventually, the calls escalated to death threats. An ex-boyfriend and his wife also received dozens of threatening calls. In May of 1988, a letter later confirmed to have been sent by Laurie Dann was sent to the hospital administration where her ex-boyfriend then worked, again accusing him of sexual assault. Since the phone calls were across the state lines, the FBI became involved, and a federal indictment against Dan was prepared. However, the ex-boyfriend, fearful of publicity and concerned about Dan getting bail and then attempting to fulfill her threats against him, decided to wait until other charges were filed in Illinois. In May, inside a garbage bag in May in 1988, a janitor found her laying in a fetal position in a garbage bag in a trash room. This participated in search of her room and her departure back to Glencoe. Now, you remember me saying that they came into her room and it was rotten meat everywhere, trash, stuff written on the walls, probably feces everywhere. Like, how could this woman live like this? And she's in a fetal position in a trash bag, butt naked. This woman has gone ballistic, and nobody has locked her up. Nobody. Y'all still continue to let her live free and live her life going off the edge, thinking that she's not going to hurt nobody but herself. Yeah. Well, let's see what that gets you. No, innocent people, when you don't interact and intervene and do something about that shit. Now, let's get to the attacks. Now, if you have, I know a lot of people are compassionate, but if you know that this is going to make you upset, I would tell you to click off right now. I'll try to put a tag in on when I'm through talking about the death, and the attacks. But let's get to it. During the days before May 20th, 1988, Laurie Dann prepared rice cereal snacks and juice boxes poisoned with the diluted arsenic she had stolen in Madison. She mailed them to a former acquaintance, ex-babysitting clients, her psychiatrist, Russell Dann, and others. In the early morning of May 20th, she personally delivered snacks and juice samples to acquaintances and families whom she had babysat for, some of whom had not seen her for years. That is so sad. Other snacks were delivered to Alpha 2 Omega and Phi Upsilon and Kappa Sigma fraternity houses, and Lever One Hall at Northwestern University in Evanston. Now note that these were universities she attended, so obviously she was retaliating on some of the people at the university who probably made her feel some type of way. Like, she's coming at everybody who has made her feel some type of way. This is a revengeful plot to just eliminate everybody who she didn't like or who she think wronged her. This is ridiculous. Notes were attached to some of the deliveries. The drinks were often leaking and the squares unpleasant tasting, so few were actually consumed. In addition, the arsenic was highly diluted, so nobody became seriously ill. About 9 a.m. on the 20th, Dan arrived at the home of the Rush family, former babysitting clients in Winnetka, Illinois, to pick up their two youngest children. The family had just told Dan that they were moving away. Instead of taking the children on a promised outing, she took them to Ravinia Elementary School in Highland Park, Illinois, where she erroneously believed that both of her former sister-in-law's two sons were enrolled. In fact, one of Dan's intended targets was not even a student at the school. Really? Not even a target. It gets more crazy. Are y'all hearing this? This is some scary shit. Okay, so she ended up leaving that school. I don't think anyone was hurt at Ravinia Elementary School. After Dan's departure, the small fire, she said, was subsequently discovered. So she set a fire at the school by students and quickly extinguished by a teacher. She drove to a local daycare extended by her ex-sister-in-law's daughter and tried to enter the building with a plastic can of gasoline, but she was stopped by staff. Next, Dan drove the children back to their home and offered them some arsenic poisoned milk, but the boys spat it out because it tasted strange to them. She has gone haywire, out of control. She's poisoning everybody at this point. Innocent children, innocent bystanders. Like, how could she have gotten to this point? I'll tell you why. Because nobody was really trying to look deep inside her case and actually believe what Russell was saying. At that point, she had got even worse, even terrible. Like, it's crazy. Like, I feel like if you are faced with a situation where somebody is telling you something about somebody and they're scared and they don't know what to do, help them. Listen to them. Because really, I feel like the only person who tried to validate the situation and get the situation handled before it got out of control was Russell. And it's crazy. It's crazy because you got one person and then the police officer. Now, I will say he believed Russell. But it's always the one person that they think is a black sheep. And nobody believes them. And then next thing you know, something bad happens with the person that they're trying to help or save. And then y'all looking crazy like, I don't know what could have happened. She was such a good person. And she just would never do something like that. You don't know them. You didn't take the time out to recognize those traits that she was showing. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Once at their home, she lured them downstairs and used gasoline to set fire to the house, trapping their mother and the two children in the basement. They managed to escape. She drove 3.5 blocks to Hubbard Woods Elementary School with 3 handguns in her possession. She wandered into a second grade classroom for a short while, then left. Finding a boy in the corridor, Darren pushed him into the boys' washroom and shot him with a 22 semi-automatic Beretta pistol. Her Smith & Wesson .357 Magnum revolver jammed when she tried to fire it at 2 other boys, and she threw it into the trash along with the spare ammunition. The boys ran out of the washroom and raised the alarm. Dan then re-entered the second grade classroom where students were working in groups on a bicycle safety test. She ordered all the children into the corner of the room, and the teacher refused in attempt to disarm Dan, managing to unload the Beretta in struggle. Oh my God. Nan Drew a .32 Smith & Wesson from the waistband of her shorts and aimed it at several groups of students. She shot 5 children, killing 8-year-old Nick Corwin and wounding 2 girls and 2 boys after fleeing in her car. She's going to every destination she can go to of any person who she think has wronged her, and just opening fire, giving them poisonous snacks. Ooh, this is pissing me off. This is pissing me off. This is pissing me off. This is pissing me the fuck off. Okay, Dan was prevented from leaving the area by car because the roads were closed for a funeral cortege. She decided to drive her car backwards down the nearby street, but the road dead-ended into a private drive. Abandoning her car, she removed the blood-stained shorts and tied a blue garbage bag around her waist. With 2 remaining guns, she made her way through the woods and came upon the house of the Andrew family. Dan entered the house and met the mother of a 20-year-old son, with her 20-year-old son, who were in the kitchen. She claimed she was raped and had shot the rapist in the struggle. The Andrews were sympathetic and tried to convince her that she need not fear the police because she had acted in self-defense. Miss Andrew gave Dan a pair of her daughter's pants to wear. While she was putting them on, Philip was able to pick up the pocket and Beretta. He suggested that she call her family. He suggested that she call her mother. Okay. Now, she didn't explain the story of rape to them, which you guys know it was a lie. She done went and shot up these kids, set fire to a school before that, trying to set an explosion, and even setting a fire to the kids that she babysat, who was supposed to be with her for an alibi, I guess. Set their home on fire, locked the mother and the kids in the basement, and thank God they got out of there safely. Like, she's causing all this chaos and destruction. Like, what the hell? At some point, how the fuck did y'all not find her and arrest her ass? Like she's going to the next person, shoot, next person, bang, next person, poison. I got all y'all, and nobody's found her yet. So, let's get back to the story. So, Mr. Andrew arrived home and they continued to argue with Dan, insisting she give up the second gun. Dan called her mother again. She had called her mother the first time. And at this time, Andrew spoke with Miss Weserman, asking her to persuade Dan to give up the gun. So Mr. Andrew, the young man, talked to Laurie's mother, which is Miss Weserman, for her to give the gun up. While Dan spoke with her mother, Miss Andrew left the house and alerted the police. Mr. Andrew told Dan that he would not remain in the house if she did not put the gun down, and also left the house. Dan ordered Philip to stay. Just before noon, seeing the police advancing on the house, she shot Philip in the chest. He managed to escape out the back door before collapsing and being rescued by police and the ambulance personnel. With the house surrounded, Dan went upstairs to the bedroom, and the Wesermans and Russell Dan were brought to the house. At about 7 p.m., an assault team entered the house while Weserman attempted to get Dan's attention with the bullhorn, the police found her body in the bedroom. She had shot herself in the mouth. So, as you could hear, they was in a big standoff with Dan, Laurie Dann. She was in the Andrews house. She went up to the girl's bedroom, and her dad is on the bullhorn trying to get her to come out of the house and give herself up. Well, of course, after all the stuff she has caused, all the damage she has done, there's no going back. She might as well have killed herself. So probably, yeah, she killed herself. She shot herself in the mouth, which she should have done. Okay, no, I'm not gonna say that, because it comes out like that because I have all this built up frustration, and yet they're letting this girl go crazy and killing folks like this and causing all this destruction. And there were warning signs there. The parents knew, the husband knew, and he was the only one trying to do something about it. And the parents were just in denial the whole effing time. The father tried to do something about it, but he's letting her do what the fuck she want. Okay, she's spoiled as hell. Like, it's sad. So let's get to the aftermath of the situation. Okay, so we all know how it ends for her. She shoots herself in the mouth, and that's the end of everything. But the aftermath of the situation is also something I want to bring to light because, a lot of people may have forgotten, and I want to bring this back up. So, now, all but one of the victims wounded by Dan recovered from their injuries, including the schoolgirl who was shot and suffered severe internal injuries. The victims, school children, and parents received excessive support to help them cope with the psychological after effects of the attacks. Parents and members of the community subsequently devoted many years of gun control policy. Philip Andrew gave interviews about gun control from his hospital bed and later became active in local state gun control organizations as an effective director or Illinois Council Against Handgun Violence. He subsequently became a lawyer and then an FBI agent. Now, who I'm talking about is Philip Andrew. Philip Andrew was one of the hostages that Laurie Dann had shot in the chest. So he became an advocate for gun violence and gun safety, and he later on became an FBI agent and a lawyer. So that's great. I'm glad that he was able to turn his negative into a positive. And a lot of the other victims became spokespeople on that situation and being more safe with guns and stuff like that. So the next thing we have, who I want to talk about is, it's a picture I'm going to have come up, and it's Nick Corwin remembered at a March of Our Lives on March 24th, 2018 in Washington, D.C. I'm going to have that picture pop up. So, there are people who still march in honor of Nick Corwin. May he rest in peace. And I am so sorry to the family that you had to lose your baby at 8-year-old child who did not deserve to die like that. So, I want to give you a little brief on Nick Corwin. So, Nick Corwin was born in April 9th, 1980, and he was killed May 20th, 1988. He was an American student at Hubbard Woods School and was murdered in his second grade class in the Hubbard Woods School. Now, he was a very rambunctious kid. From my understanding and the information that I read, he played baseball. I forgot to mention that he was passionate about all sports. even soccer. Sweet kid and just very involved with his activities. And he did not deserve to die like that. He loved school. He loved baseball. It's really sad. But I'm glad to see that people, are raising awareness about this situation and still say his name to this day because, you know, he didn't deserve to go like that. Like, I'm going to make sure I have all the pictures and everything you guys need to know about this situation. And they also dedicated a park to Nick Corwin. So, that makes me happy. Of course, it's not going to bring him back. And, it's just really sad. It breaks my heart. So, I want to get off that. I don't want to get teary-eyed. So the reason why I brought this to you guys' attention is because there are a lot of people who deal with mental illness. A lot of people. No matter what race you are, because they like to commonly say that it's black people who deal with mental illness, but it is people of all races, all calibers, all shapes and sizes. I don't care what y'all say. We all have dealt with something mentally challenging. And I feel like if the signs are very severe, you should get help. If you know it's something wrong with you and you're dealing with that yourself, get help. Don't be afraid to talk to somebody. They probably can refer you to somebody who can help you and break you from that situation. Because we don't want to claim it, but if we know something is going on, it's better to catch it before it gets like Laurie's situation. Because honestly, in my book, I blame her parents, okay? Because they were responsible for her. And I feel like she has had this mental illness for a very long time. Some parents like to ignore the fact that their child has something wrong with them. They don't want to accept it. They're very in denial about mental illness. They're like, oh, my child doesn't have that. No, what are you telling me? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And we have to start, yes, I know you don't want to accept every diagnosis that a psychiatrist or a doctor gives your child, but if you're seeing these things with your own naked eye, then you need to start doing something about this. Okay? We don't need to have more memorials of Nick Corwin because he should be alive right now. He should be married with kids right now, watching his kids play baseball. Come on now. Like, I feel like even like with a lot of true crime stories that I have read upon, because I've only done one in particular, but I feel like that could have been avoided if somebody had just committed her and gotten her some help and stopped just, being ignorant towards things you see that you think is just gonna go away like a freaking cold. You can't think like that. So, that was the story of Laurie Dann. I said that so wrong. I said Valerie. I'm thinking of Valerie Bertinelli. Excuse me. Okay, that was the story of Laurie Dann and her crazy life. I really wanted to raise awareness of mental illness, and I hope you guys could take this video and just share it with other people who may be going through the same thing. I don't want to make them feel guilty. I just want them to see what point you can get to when you're not being helped. And if you are a friend of someone, if you are in a relationship with someone who is going through this, please don't hesitate to get them help. Don't be afraid to intervene. Yeah, sometimes you may lose friends because you intervene to try to get their life back together, but we don't want another Nick Corwin to be shot and killed. You get what I'm saying? We don't want another little girl to be shot and killed because somebody is mentally ill and just crazy and need to be in a motherfucking padded room. You know? Because I even, I'm not going to lie. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. But I have those days where I'm like having the worst anxiety in the world. And I'm wondering, why am I thinking like this? This could be a totally chill, relaxed day. And I'm like, why do I feel so numb inside? Why do I feel like not doing anything but just crawling into the bed and putting my covers over my head when it's a beautiful day outside and I should be enjoying it? So, yeah, I did this video just to raise awareness and to tell you guys the story. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. If you are new to this channel, please make sure you subscribe to this channel. Tell everybody you know who may like this channel and ask them to subscribe as well. So, all my Bonita viewers, I love you guys so much. And again, I say happy Thanksgiving. May you all have blessings from nothing but the Most High. I love you guys. Mwah. Big kiss from me. Bye.